At the end of the 1950s and throughout the 1960s, no studio was more influential in television programming than Desilu. From Make Room for Daddy to The Andy Griffith Show, My Three Sons, The Real McCoys, My Favorite Martian, and the show we'll talk about today, The Dick Van Dyke Show. This was a sitcom created by Carl Reiner that originally aired on CBS from October 1961 to June 1966, totaling 158 half-hour episodes across 5 seasons. The series starred Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore, Rose Marie, Maury Amsterdam, and Larry Matthews. The show's 2 main settings were the work environment and the home life of Rob Petrie, played by Dick Van Dyke, who was the head writer of a comedy variety show produced in Manhattan. Viewers got an inside look at how a TV show was written and produced. Many scenes focused on Rob and his co-writers, Buddy Sorrell and Sally Rogers, along with Mel Cooley, a bald character who was frequently the target of Buddy's insults. Other scenes centered on Rob's home life with his wife Laura, played by Mary Tyler Moore, and their son Richie, played by Larry Matthews, as they lived in the suburbs of New Rochelle, New York. Many of the show's characters were based on real people, as Carl Reiner created the program drawing from his own memories and his time as head writer for Sid Caesar's Your Show of Shows. Dick Van Dyke's character was based on Reiner himself, while Mary Tyler Moore's character was partially influenced by Jackie Kennedy's style during her time as First Lady of the United States. From 1950 to 1954, Carl Reiner honed his skills as a writer and actor on Your Show of Shows. Among his fellow writers were the famous Mel Brooks and the lesser-known Selma Diamond. After Caesar's show ended, Reiner wrote a pilot and several episodes for a new TV comedy reflecting his own life. He called it Head of the Family. The show focused on the daily life of Rob Petrie. Maury Amsterdam was cast as a joke writer akin to Mel Brooks, while Rose Marie portrayed a self-deprecating version of Selma Diamond, searching for a husband. The pilot caught the attention of veteran producer Sheldon Leonard, known for The Danny Thomas Show and The Andy Griffith Show. He liked the concept and script but wasn't convinced by Reiner's acting. Leonard suggested the lead character needed to be more conventionally American, less overtly Jewish, to resonate with a broader audience. The finalist for the role of Rob came down to Johnny Carson and Dick Van Dyke. Thanks to the recognition Van Dyke had earned for his successful Broadway run-in by Birdie, he landed the part. However, the runner-up, Johnny Carson, also went on to have an illustrious career. Mary Tyler Moore, as a teenager, had auditioned for the role of Danny Thomas's daughter in his eponymous sitcom. Despite her comedic talent, Thomas rejected her, saying no one would believe a girl with such a small nose could be his daughter. Years later, when Moore auditioned for the role of Laura, she not only caught Carl Reiner's attention but also reminded Danny Thomas of her earlier audition. Although Van Dyke initially opposed her casting due to her being 11 years younger than him, their on-screen chemistry proved magical, erasing any doubts he initially had. Despite her youth, Moore was no pushover. When early scripts called for her to vacuum the living room in a dress and high heels like June Cleaver, the actress flatly refused. As a young mother in real life, she preferred wearing comfortable clothes for household chores. This gave rise to Laura Petrie's capri pants, which simultaneously irritated network censors and liberated suburban housewives from the constraints of traditional attire. The network initially insisted she wear skirts in a certain number of scenes per episode. To challenge this, the crew filmed a scene where Laura walked into the kitchen in capri pants and came out moments later in a skirt, as if she had magically changed. After this stunt, the network relented and allowed the pants. Behind the scenes, not everything was smooth sailing. Dick Van Dyke was a self-confessed people-pleaser, whether on set or meeting fans. I've met him a couple of times, and he's genuinely a friendly guy. He doesn't come across as a big star when you meet him on the street. He talks to you like a regular person. But during the show's 1960s success, he found solace in his close friend William Jack Daniels. Van Dyke later publicly admitted to being an alcoholic and sought treatment at a rehabilitation clinic. Meanwhile, His co-star Mary Tyler Moore began experiencing strange and unexplained health issues on set, such as dizziness, weight loss, and blurry vision. Assuming she was overworked, she ignored the warning signs, which she later discovered were symptoms of type 1 diabetes. During the show's fourth season, Rosemary's beloved husband, to whom she had been married for 20 years, passed away. Overwhelmed by grief, she wanted to leave the show, but a director persuaded her to stay and keep her mind occupied. Carl Reiner often asked cast and crew members about funny things that had happened to them, then wrote entire episodes based on those anecdotes. As a result, most of the episodes across the show's 5 seasons were rooted in real-life events. Revisit this classic from the early 1960s. It won't disappoint.
Here we end. Thank you for your attention. Like and subscribe. There are many interesting things ahead. Good luck.